Welcome. So in this lesson, we're going to be talking about fractions. So what is a fraction? Well, here are some definitions. A numerical quantity that is not a whole number. So a fraction is a numerical quantity that is not a whole number. Also, it is a number that expresses equal parts of a whole object. So to help us make sense of these definitions here, let's come and look at this little diagram here. So as you can see, we've got this 1 here, and this represents one whole number. We could take this 1 and we could break it up, couldn't we? We could break up this whole number into halves, like that. And now we've got halves there. So we say it's 1 over 2 because we've broken it up into halves. Or we could break it up into thirds. All of these are fractions. I could break it up into fourths, like this. So hopefully by looking at this diagram, we can now come back to our definitions and they just make a bit more sense. So we're not dealing with a whole number, are we? So we're not dealing with a whole number as this 1 is. Instead, we're dealing with things that are less than one whole number. And as you can also see, it's a number that expresses equal parts of the whole. Do you see how I'm always breaking up this whole 1 here into equal parts? I've got equal parts of quarters or equal parts of fifths or equal parts of thirds, but they're always equal. And that's another key definition of what a fraction is. All right, let's learn a bit more about the definitions that we need to know. So here is, a fraction. It's 3 on 4. 3 on 4. Now, to help us make sense of this, let's use this diagram here to help us out. Let's say that this is a block of chocolate. And let's say I've broken this block of chocolate into 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. So I've taken a block of chocolate and I've broken it up into 4 equal pieces. That's why we put a 4 down the bottom. The 4 down the bottom represents the total amount of pieces that I have. And we call this the denominator. Denominator. And I've got a little definition here of what a denominator is. It tells you how many parts the whole is divided up into. Then what I decide to do, I've broken up my chocolate into 4 pieces. I decide to eat 3 of those pieces. So I've selected 3 of those pieces. That's why we put a 3 up the top. So 3 out of 4 is because I've selected 3 out of the 4 pieces of chocolate. This 3 is what we refer to as the numerator. Numerator. And here is a definition of the numerator. It tells you how many of the divided parts you have selected. Okay, so that's the first part of this lesson. We've gone through a bit of a definition of what fractions are, and we've learned about the denominator and the numerator.